Hey YouTube, what's up? I'm back with another movie review. And this movie is called There's Something Wrong with the Children. It's a horror / mystery movie that was made in 2023. But before we get into it, subscribe to my channel, please. And without any further ado, this is my movie review. Now, let me tell y'all about this story. There's Something Wrong with the Children is about two couples on a camping trip. There's Margaret and Ben, and it's Thomas and Ellie. Thomas and Ellie have two children named Lucy and Spencer. So they all went for a small hike through the forest and they found a cave. Now inside of the cave, it had a deep well inside of it. And the children were like really drawn to this well. It emitted a green light that the adults couldn't see, and the well was actually speaking to the children, but the adults couldn't hear it. After they explored the cave, they all decided to leave, and they went back to their cabins. When they got back to their cabins, Ellie was telling Margaret how she think she messed up her marriage because she had a foursome with Thomas and two other people. She said Thomas wasn't really into it, but this was the best sex that she ever had. And after everything was over with, she lied and she told Thomas like the sex was okay. You know, I really didn't even enjoy the other man, but she was lying. And Thomas, he knew she was lying. Ever since then, he hasn't touched her. Like he was like real distant from her. And he doesn't really look at her the same way. So her friend Margaret was like, well, the kids can stay the night with me at my cabin and you guys just go enjoy yourselves tonight. You know, go and try to save your marriage. I got you. Ben and Margaret watched the kids overnight. Then when the morning came, they couldn't find Lucy and Spencer. So they just started panicking, and Ben was like, you know what? They were really drawn to that cave and they wanted us to go back to the cave, you know, last night, and we told them no. So I'm about to go there and look for them. So he went into the cave and he saw the children inside, and they were about to jump in the well, and he was running over to them trying to save them, but they already had jumped in the well. By the time he got there, he just saw their dead bodies floating at the bottom. So Ben walked back to the cabin to break the bad news to Margaret, and when he got back, Ben saw the kids running out of their mother and father's cabin. And he couldn't understand what was going on because he just seen the children die. After that, Ben was the only one to notice that the children were doing little weird things, and they were really different. Like they were eating bug-infested chips, and they put pills in their dad's drink, and they were playing behind the adults' back like they were going to hurt them. But they knew Ben was seeing everything, so they was just messing with him the whole time. And then when the adults would look around, the kids would just stop what they're doing and act normal. And then when Ben tried to save his friends from the children, Ellie and Thomas thought that Ben was crazy and he was being mean to their kids. So everybody got into a big old argument, and all the secrets started coming out, and then Margaret just ended up smacking Ellie in the face, and she didn't even do anything about it. Like she just held her face like, really? That was weird to me. After that, Ben was inside of the cabin, and the little boy Spencer started hitting Ben, and he said, look, I don't want to play, just go ahead, leave me alone, move along. So the kids started messing with him some more. They didn't really care, you know, what Ben was talking about. And when Ben tried to stop Spencer, he made a mistake and hit the boy in the throat. So the little boy started choking and gagging or whatever. Ben was trying to do CPR and revive Spencer, but it didn't work, and the little boy died. The whole time Spencer was gagging and dying, Lucy was sitting there laughing. But as soon as everybody else came in the room, she started crying and pointing at Ben, talking about he did it, knowing she was just laughing. So they kicked Ben out of the cabin and they called the police. But dispatch said it would take a few hours for any officer to get there since they were so far out in the woods. After this, Margaret went outside to talk to Ben. Like she was just so shocked that he did that. But she was also kind of scared because Ben was on medication for his mental status. So Ben was saying, look, something ain't right with them kids. Like, just come with me and I could prove this to you. So they went, she agreed or whatever. And then they went to a cave and nothing happened. And the children's bodies weren't at the bottom of the well anymore. So she was just like, listen, I don't know what's going on with you. You just killed our little nephew. There's no dead kids here. It's you. After that, Margaret left the cave and Ben just stayed there. And then a green light started coming from the well. When she got back to the cabins, Lucy was saying, Auntie Margaret, like, I have something I want to show you that's in the woods. And she didn't even seem like she cared that her brother was dead or not. And Margaret was kind of confused about that because Margaret was hurt behind it. When Thomas came outside, he told Lucy, like, no, you're not going nowhere with Margaret. We already lost the child. You feel me? You ain't going nowhere. So she said, Daddy, I got something to show you in the woods. Lucy showed her father instead. And then Margaret just looked at them crazy and just went back in the cabin to console her friend, you know, because she just lost her son. And when she went in there, it was blood everywhere. Her friend Ellie was gone, but Spencer was alive. So Margaret said, what did you do with your mother? Like, what's going on? And the little boy said, I just wanted to play with her or something like that. And then he turned into a bug and he tried to kill Margaret, but she ran outside and she seen a police officer and tried to explain to her what was going on. But the kids ended up catching Margaret, knocking her out, and then they killed the police officer. Lucy and Spencer, they had some type of extra powers or whatever, you know, they was real strong. So they dragged Margaret, the police officer, and their mother to the cave. When Margaret woke up in the cave, she was laying next to the dead bodies and she saw a green light coming from the pit. And then she saw that the children were throwing the bodies inside of the pit. When they came to get the next body, she pretended like she was asleep. But when she saw Lucy and Spencer feeding her best friend to the pit, she ran behind the kids and then she pushed them inside of it. Then Margaret went back to the cabins and got in the car and she seen Ben walking up. So Margaret got out the car and was telling Ben, like, look, I'm sorry, I believe you. Let's just get up out of here. You know, these kids is crazy. Let's just get up out of here and get in the car. But Ben didn't want to go. He told Margaret that he actually turned into one of those creatures and he wanted to make love to her so they could make some more creatures. So they just started fighting because Margaret was not about to give birth to no bugs. And then Ben got on top of her and he was trying to kill her. Out of nowhere, Thomas ran out of the woods and tackled Ben down and told Margaret, like, just drive away, leave, go, leave me here. So Thomas actually saved her and he didn't even try to escape. She got in the car crying and bloody and she drove away. She was driving away really fast. Not even 5 minutes went past and Margaret saw Ben and Lucy and Spencer all holding hands in the middle of the road. So Margaret pushed the gas pedal and the car started going really fast. And before she could hit them, that's when the scene ends. My opinion. I was not excited to do a movie review on this movie after I watched it. But I had to suffer through this, so I might as well write about it. There's nothing wrong with the children. It's the damn producers. This should have been a free YouTube movie and not even in theaters. This movie was so trash. Like, the acting wasn't good. The build up was too quick. And they better than me because I would have whooped them little kids' asses the way they was acting in this damn film. And when they thought Ben unalived their child, nobody tried to do the same to him. To me, it was crazy because if you just unalive my child and I'm right here, like you're right in front of my face, I'm gonna be mad. I'm gonna want to fight. I'm gonna black out. Like, it's time to fight. But I'm trying to do the same thing. You about to be with my child. But the thing is, that didn't happen that way. So it just wasn't realistic. Like, if Thomas and Ellie would have started swinging on him, it would have been more believable. So to me, it just seemed like an unreal reaction. And then they named the characters Margaret and Thomas and Ellie and Lucer Lucy and Spencer. They didn't even try to make the names more believable for these people. Like those names suck, and they really didn't even match the characters. I just think somebody was like, yeah, look, I ain't got nothing else to do and I got some money to spend and I'm bored. Like, let's go make a movie. And then said, I just don't care anymore in the middle of it. And then they just threw something at the end together. Like, I'm good. I don't want to see this again. On a scale from 1 to 10, I would give it a 4. But I'm thinking, like, if I would have read this in the book, then I probably would have given it a 6. You know how sometimes you can read a book and it's good, but when they make a movie, it's terrible, it's trash? Like, that's how I feel about this movie. I don't want to see it again. But anyway, y'all, I'm out. Be on the lookout for my next movie review.